Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to Monday and welcome to a flashback episode of Faux Real. On this episode, I'm bringing back my great conversation with Melissa Peterman, who you probably know from Reba, and most recently on Happy's Place, also starring Reba McEntire. And she'll be returning for season 2 of Happy's Place this fall on NBC, so definitely watch out for that. Melissa is such an absolute delight. She was so fun to talk to. We met when I was a contestant on her game show called Person, Place, or Thing, which is like 20 questions. And she's a great host. She's jubilant and full of glee and joy and totally, absolutely hilarious. I love talking with her, and we had a really great chat. The original episode came out about a year and a half ago, and I definitely hope she returns to the show to promote the second season of Happy's Place. And maybe, just maybe, cross all those fingers and toes, we'll have Reba McEntire on the show as well. We shall see. Anyway, that's all I got to say for this intro. Please enjoy or re-enjoy my conversation with the great Melissa Peterman. Hi, Melissa.
How are you?
I'm doing so good. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for doing this with me today. I
Of
so appreciate it.
course. Here, is this light okay? There we go. It's so rainy. It's just such a
Oh,
I
I
know.
know. I know. Yeah. I always the first thing in the morning I open my blind so I can get a little bit of a rush of sunshine, and I was like, ugh.
I know. It makes me want to not go anywhere, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
It
Yeah.
is.
I'll have a nice nap later. That'll be very
Me,
enjoyable.
me too. There's nothing like a rainy day nap.
Oh my God, it's so good. I was all wrapped up in my covers this morning. It was one of those mornings I was just like, oh, this feels so lovely. I don't want to I
Well,
don't want to be a
I
person.
I feel you but I actually did get up and go to the gym, even though I texted my trainer. I'm like, "Are you sure? Do you want to reschedule?" Like hoping she'd say, "Oh, it's so rainy and the traffic's bad." But she's like, "Nope, I'm in the car on my way." And I'm like, "Oh,
Dang
shoot."
it.
I know.
So close.
So I did it.
Yeah,
So I deserve a nap.
absolutely. I am although I may not seem it, I'm definitely an introvert. So anytime someone cancels plans, I'm like, yes.
It is. It's a nice thing. I mean, I think you're probably, I think maybe we're similar. I'm an introverted extrovert, or you know what I mean? I love to be out there and doing it, but then when I'm done, I'm super happy to be really quiet and on my own. And I don't mind being alone. Like I don't mind at all.
Sometimes it's really nice just to be off in a little corner reading a book,
Yep.
especially on days like this. Be very Parisian with with a little umbrella and a coffee, and
Hmm.
nose and exactly. I just had mine, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yesterday I did not have my coffee. It was a whole thing. Yesterday was a day. I left my phone in an Uber first thing in the morning on my way to a thing, and then the guy was being a jerk, didn't want to bring it back to me, so I had to go back and forth with him all day. Finally, had to go to Sherman Oaks
No.
to he'd arranged for me to meet him there so he could give it to me, except he never came out, and I didn't know his name, so I couldn't buzz him on the call box. Sat out there for an hour, ended up giving up, walked to a bus, waited for the bus. Then the then the bus took me all the way around the long way. Then I had to walk a mile and a half home. Then finally coordinated for him just to bring it to me where I was at anyway.
Why? I mean, I thought there was a thing on the Uber app that you could press like lost item and they sort of like helped you facilitate it or no? Like
Yes,
help
but
you
I
like
didn't have my phone to do it from my
oh
account.
my God. Hi.
So when I got to and Melissa, this guy, so we were when I got to the thing, I was starting an asthma study. One of the very nice physicians called customer service from his phone. so I could go back and forth. And the guy was like, I'm busy all day. Schedule through the app. I
How
can't.
do
I don't
schedule?
have my phone.
Well, to be fair, I thought that for a second too before I realized you did not
Yeah.
have your phone.
Yeah. But,
Uh,
so it was just like, anyway.
well, I'm
Um,
sorry about that.
well, I got it back. All good. It's all
Okay.
good.
And how was your and asthma study? So are they testing stuff on you?
So I've had severe asthma from birth. I also have a heart condition, which makes things, so much more fun. And so I did one asthma study through this clinical research company, and it pays very well. Essentially, it's a lot of, it's a spirology. So I gotta like
Uh-huh.
blow in a tube, and it calculates it, and I got to do it a million times like throughout the day. And they do an EKG and take my blood pressure and all that kind of thing. And they put me on um, some medication that I take for whatever time period the study is. And it's so they can figure out new
So
medications
in
to
the
give to
hopes of
people.
maybe new it's a new help or like a new regime, whether
Yes,
like medication mixed with something. Okay.
exactly.
Got it.
Yep. As long as I have a controller and all that, but
Uh-huh.
as long as I don't forget to take it, I'm usually okay. But
Right.
it's like, it's a whole thing. Um, Melissa, we got to get into it. We
Okay,
have
let's
a
go.
million things to talk about. I am so excited. Seriously, I'm so excited that you're here. You and I have a lot in common. First being that we are absolute game show freaks.
Yes.
Um, I love them. You love them. You've been a contestant on a million of them, and you've hosted one called Bet on Your Baby.
Yes, I have. I've hosted a couple before Person Placer thing, but Bet on Your Baby was ABC. You probably know the more information. You go ahead. You tell me. You remind me. I'm old. I
No,
forget stuff.
you did it. Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you all about.
Okay.
Because I love it so much. I want to be you. In all of the game shows, I want to do absolutely all the game shows. I've been a contestant on two, of course, Person, Place, or Thing, and I also did People Puzzler on GSN,
Oh,
which
I
was
love
a
that one.
blast. Leah Remini, she's a hoot. She's spicy. Have you
I
met
want to,
Leah
I know,
Remini?
and I feel like if I met her, I feel like we would be really good friends.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
I've met Kevin James and I've worked with him a little bit. And so I felt like maybe that would get me one step closer to Leah Remini, but I just think she is so funny. I think she's so smart and I think we would be best friends.
I agree. Yeah, I do. I think that would be like crossing the streams. I think it would be really cool. She is a spicy one though. She gets those zingers in there. The kind of stuff that she says off camera is
It's very spicy, is how you're
very
saying it.
spicy. Yep.
Okay. So some
Yeah.
of it's off camera.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I like it. I think a Midwestern and what she's New York, right? New Yorker originally.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd be a perfect, I need a little spice. I like a little spice.
Same. Yeah, it was really fun.
Can you
Although
talk
back
about it yet? Has it aired? How'd you do?
I didn't do well, Melissa. We'll get into this
Okay,
about my
all right.
person, place, or thing episode, but the same kind of thing happened both times, which was I got zero sleep the night before, zero sleep. And for People Puzzler, the call was 5:30 a.m.
Oh no.
because at the time we had to get a COVID test before going into the studio, and Leah had to be somewhere in the early afternoon,
Okay.
which meant they had to shoot 3 episodes early. And I got to tell you, I was absolutely worthless. Just I was not just running on steam. I mean,
And you need to be that's I'm so I respect all the contestants who come out and play any games because a lot of times your call time is really early. And even if someone didn't have to leave early, there if you're in the last game of the day, you're still coming in at the same time usually. So you're coming in
Mhm.
really early. You're waiting around. You have to keep your energy up, keep your mind sharp. And I know how hard that is. It's really hard to do that. And then to all of a sudden be on the spot, lights are on you, and you got to start playing. It's really difficult. Like I mean, I've done that part too as a contestant, but even like as an actor, if I have, a tiny little scene, a few lines, and I have to wait around all day, by the time you get to me and I've got like one line to say, I'm so
Yeah.
like just burnt out and excited and adrenaline and tired. And I get there and I feel like I just am awful. I'd rather be getting there and working right away all through the day. Keep your mind going. I think it's much harder to get there early and then maybe have to wait around a little bit. So I give it up for you. You probably did way better than you think.
I didn't, but I appreciate the sentiment. I did really badly, and but I look good, so
Good.
that's helpful.
That's half the battle.
That's a real superpower of being an actor and being a performer. You have to be able to go. You got to be able to turn it on, no matter what you're going through during the day or the week or the moment or whatever it is. I was just listening to Jesse Tyler Ferguson's podcast, and
Okay.
he had um, Haley. She played Haley
Oh,
on Modern Family.
yeah.
Sarah
Not
Hyland had Sarah Hyland on the show, and I had no idea. She has some kidney situation, so she was going through dialysis through months and months of taping of the show, and she was just talking about how she didn't remember a lot of moments of taping the show and even being on set because she was like as soon
right.
as they'd call cut, she'd fall asleep, be off in a corner, and I was like, what? I mean,
I
I don't even understand that kind of willpower. That's crazy, you know.
It is, but you get it becomes uh sort of second nature, I guess, that you just when it comes on, you know what you have to do and you can forget everything else. I've seen it. I've known people going through whether it's personal things, health things, and when it's time to roll or they say action, they just do it. And I've seen people that I think it sometimes brings something to a performance where they're even a little sharper in it because I don't know, it's crazy.
That adrenaline rush is like
That
defusing a
adrenaline.
bomb. You just you go off, you explode onto the scene, and just go for it. That's you know,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I remember knowing that about her and thinking like, that how amazing. And she was young too. Like,
Mhm.
we forget how that when that show started, all of those kids were, I mean, she probably was only what, 16, 17 when that started?
She
I
was
don't
18 when it started.
even.
They talk about this on the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the fortitude of that is just unbelievable. Um,
I've seen Reba, on having, fighting a cold or a sinus thing and just drinking her tea, making sure she keeps it. And then she hits that stage and it sounds like you are hearing her in a studio. She just gives it to everyone. The minute, the fancy encore happens, she's back in there and she's
yeah.
immediately back, drinking tea and kind of, shutting it down. But nobody would ever know that she was not feeling 100%, right before she walked on stage because she gives it. I don't know. It's incredible.
My friend Dustin used to work for Reba as part of her social media team.
I think I
And
know which Judson you're talking about. I think I know him too. Don't
yeah,
I?
I'm
Too.
sure. I'm sure. I mean, he's. Uh, I think he's met you a couple
I
times.
think he
He
has
said
too. I love it.
because yeah, um, he's met Reba a million times and he's seen Reba in concert countless times.
Yep.
But yeah, he's definitely a fan. And besides your wonderful work on the show as Barbara Jean, many people know you, I'm sure. You also opened for both Reba and Kelly Clarkson.
I did.
That's that's incredible. Um,
It was really, I am still very grateful that I got to experience a tour like that and to get to open at an arenas, doing stand up in an arena and just hearing it's I get why people want to continue to go on the road and tour. Like I used to joke with Reba, like I feel like that everybody should be able to just pay $20. We all fill up an arena, and then one by one we let people introduce us. Like, and then you're gonna walk on stage and hear that kind of energy because it's can you imagine just like, ladies and gentlemen, it's Carl from Human Resources, and like, what? Or
Yeah.
give it up for Janet. I
Absolutely.
just feeling, and again, I know that it's the energy's there for Kelly and for Reba, but I'll take it. Like, I mean,
Sure.
it was so incredible. And then to get to sort of my job was to be funny, but just sort of get them ready for they're there already because they're excited to see them. So it's such a fun, friendly crowd. And then the Barbara Jean thing really worked for opening it. So it was fantastic. And I got a free concert every night, and I got to watch I got to watch Reba, and then I got to watch her with Kelly when they toured together, and then I did it when she was with George Strait too. So
Oh,
um and I never got sick of watching it. Like it could be like your 30th show and I would never miss certain songs. Like sometimes you'd miss some, but I'm like I would never miss when her and Kelly would do Because of You or Up to the Mountain, and I would never miss when Reba would do the Greatest Man, or I just never got tired of watching them perform. So that was pretty great.
that is incredible. And there is absolutely no rush like that stadium full of people. I got a little piece of it touring
On
with
Person Place Your Thing when you walked out and we all
yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. I did a tour with Up with People. I don't know if you've have heard of them.
I know
Yes.
exactly who they are. Okay, I don't think I've met anyone who did it. Tell me
Yeah.
everything.
It was many years ago, but yeah, I toured with them for the last full year that they were doing a full year tour. So
Okay.
the first semester was throughout Midwest, Northeast United States. The second semester was all through Europe. So we went through Sweden, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Spain, Netherlands, and Portugal with a stopover in the Czech Republic. And of
Wow.
course, as they do, staying with host families the whole entire way and getting to be a part of all of the various cultures that we were immersed in. We, besides doing our show, we would help with, community outreach projects all along the way, which was very, very cool. I worked with a refugee camp at some point, which I think was in Portugal. I mean,
What a
the,
great
the
experience.
it I mean, yeah, it was the greatest experience of my life. And in the bigger cities when we would perform, we'd perform for thousands and thousands of people. So that was
And you got to feel like that energy. Like
yeah.
I think I wish everyone could have that moment, which is why someday we'll do that, where we just charge tickets to an arena one by one. We introduce you and the crowd goes wild.
I think that's an amazing idea. Let's produce it together.
Produce it. Think of a name. Think of a working title.
Ooh. Hmm.
What would it be? I can't think.
Maybe like Joe's show instead of Joe Schmo. It's like
Right,
Joe's show.
right, right.
Something
Oh,
to that
we'll
effect.
workshop it.
Okay, we'll workshop
We'll
it.
workshop.
So person, place, or thing.
Okay.
You are the host. You are the most you're the most jubilant person I've ever met. And it was so great to be on that set. You were so welcoming, and that team of yours on that show is the best.
Thank you.
Manny and I have since we've become friends through Instagram, and thank you so much to Manny for
She's
making this
so
happen
incredible.
today. This is all because of you, Manny. We appreciate you.
And for those that listen, does all of our our social media and but she's more than that even. Like she's a bridge, and she connects everything, and comes up with great ideas. And I don't know. I think she's a genius, and I feel like she's gonna be snatched up and like be running the world. And I love her. She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really cool.
Well, I agree and I love to hear that because I know that we are asking a lot of our contestants to come out and to be there all day and to play. So I just want I want you to walk away with having a great experience and feeling like, that you had a good time. That's really my biggest goal there. So I'm glad to hear that you did.
I truly did. I had so much fun losing. Um, and we got to get into the Pete of it all. Not only was I dead tired, but I went against the mighty Pete.
The repeat
16 episode winning streak, was on for 17 episodes before he finally got kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's an absolute monster. And the coolest dude. We've also become friends since the show. He's going to be on an episode of the podcast as well coming up. We got to figure out the schedules.
You need to connect me. I mean, I suppose I could just DM him, but I do.
Sure.
I really do have a wedding gift for him in Weatherly.
Oh, that's amazing.
They did invite me, and I had I was doing an event, a charity event that weekend with the David Foster Foundation. So I sent them a video because I was like, I really wish I really would have come. But I just think he is. My Aunt Kathy, who, by the way, watches every episode in Minnesota, and I get like a review after every one of who she loved, who she's rooting for. Did she like my outfit? Did she hate my outfit? And Pete, she was so invested in Pete, and I forget what she gave him a nickname too. Was it the Petinator or the I forget. She had a really great name. But anyway, she was so devastated. But when Pete lost, she was really, he was such a great player. And you're right. That was so great is because to have somebody there that long, had he not been such a fun, great human being that people could root, he was great. He was fantastic. I'm glad you're friends. Have you been over to their house? Have you met Weatherly?
No. I haven't met or interacted with Weatherly yet, although she has liked some of my Instagram stories. So I guess that's a quasi interaction, but he is going to be on the show. Okay. And she is obviously more than welcome to join him on the episode. So I hope that happens so we can all meet each other. But I got to go see his stand-up too, because he's doing a lot of stand-up shows around LA.
I will go with you, and I want to.
Great, let's do it.
Does he post where his stand-up?
Yeah, on his Instagram.
I follow him. All right.
Just drop into his DMs, Melissa. I'm sure he would be delighted by that. Yeah.
I would love to see him. Where do you know where he performs? We can talk about that later. Yeah, I'd love to go see him.
He posts all of it on his Instagram. I'll have to check it later and see where he's going to be next. But yeah, we'll talk all about it when he's on the show too. So
that's what's been so fun is the contestants like you and Pete, and I've met so many really fantastic ones that I do follow. And there's is it Eunice, who's another stand-up who's I truly mean it when I say I'm going to come see her. But every time I've been out of town on weekends, and Beverly, there's been so many fun people that I keep up with. So it's been great.
Yeah, I have watched. I fell off a little bit, but I have seen most of the episodes that have posted on YouTube. The other thing, I don't know if you remember my person, was Weird Al.
Yes.
And as I was watching the episodes come out on YouTube, there was another guy before me that also had Weird Al as his person and was like, "Phew."
And wait, was he the one? Okay, was it you or him that actually were an extra in the movie?
That was me.
That's you.
That
okay.
is me.
So then you win.
Yes, that's right.
You kind of win because you got to be in the movie.
I did, yeah. And I got to tell you, Melissa, that was, other than being on Person Place or Thing, that was the second greatest day of my entire life. Have you seen the movie?
Yes.
Weird, the Al Yankovic Story? So at the end, Amish Paradise, I'm one of the, I'm in the Amish choir. So they gave me a whole beard. I already had the outfit because I actually did like an Amish gangster character years and years ago for the show called Banshee. They were doing a promo at
Okay.
San Diego Comic Con. So they gave me the whole Amish outfit and put tattoos all over me. It was wild.
Was the tattoos just like the orange triangle, like that they put on the back of the buggy, to slow down?
No, but that would have been awesome.
Because I think, Devlin, we also have other things in common. When I was doing improv and sketch comedy, for some reason, I was also I'm in Minnesota, so Wisconsin. There's a big Amish community as well there, and I was always fascinated. So I would always write a sketch called, it was an Amish private investigator, and it was Jebediah PI,
I'm
and
Jebediah. Yeah, that's my Amish name, Jebediah. Yeah.
he was always late to all the crime scenes because he had to take the buggy, and he
Yeah.
couldn't use a camera, so his wife would quilt the images of the crime. It was
Amazing.
it was one of those things. So Amish parent, like that's a
Yeah.
great Weird Al. So, and we talked about this. So you've met him more than once, right? Or just one?
I think it's 9 times now that
Okay.
he knows who I am,
Of course he
although
does.
less so than there's like a whole echelon of Weird Al fans.
Okay.
There are these dudes named Dave and Ethan. Shout out to Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. Um, and as in the name, it's all Weird Al all the time, and they have various guests from all of people that have worked on his songs and his concerts and all of the various projects. And Dave has like he's got like Weird Al tats and stuff.
Love it.
So they've both, anyway, they play bikers in the biker bar in Weird Al Yankovic
I
story.
love that in the movie that there's so many of his like true real life fans in there. That's pretty
Mm,
great. That's very cool.
yeah. And I've
Doesn't he perform at the Largo now and then once in a while? Or does he pop up there? Or am I making that up?
he collabs with a lot of different people who perform at the Largo and other various venues. One of the most recent things that one of the most recent collabs that he's been doing more than once is with the Middle Aged Dad Jam Band, which is Ken Marino and Joe Latrilio, guys from the state, and they also bring in special guests.
Okay.
And Weird Al tries to play with them as whenever they happen to be in the area.
Love it. I love
Mhm.
it.
If you ever get a chance to see that show, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty nuts.
We have so many shows to go see.
I know.
We're busy.
So busy.
Stand up. We've got to go to the
So busy.
Largo.
Um, I want to bob and weave through your career, which is
Okay.
just absolutely incredible. You started out in Fargo as
Yes.
hooker number 2.
Hooker number 2. I sure did.
How was that set? Tell me about that experience.
I was too young to be nervous and too naive to be nervous, which was a great thing because if I was doing anything with the Coen brothers today, I probably would be just a wreck. I was right out of college, my theater degree. I had met the casting director. She had come to our university to teach a cold or audition class and a couple other classes, and she really liked me. She was from Chicago. And then I was in Minnesota. And then when I graduated, she was in Minnesota casting for the movie and brought me in because she remembered me and she liked me from that class, and auditioned a couple times. I think I've told this one before, is like by the second, I don't know if it was the first audition that Joel Cohen walked by and I asked him for change for the vending machine because I was going to get a Mountain Dew. I mean,
Sure.
again, a poor decision to have a Mountain Dew right before an audition anyway. And so that, because this was like, I knew who they were, but this was pre-social media. Like we didn't really know, there weren't
Know what they
pictures
looked
of
like.
directors and writers everywhere,
Yeah.
like they had done Raising Arizona and all that. But so anyway, then I walk into the room and he's sitting there and I'm like, oh, thanks for the change. Anyway, the set was incredible. I was excited, and again, really too naive to be that nervous. And Frances McDormand was in that first scene. The first scene I shot was with her and Larissa, who was hooker number one. I was number two. And Frances could not have been more welcoming. I felt like a peer, and I was like right out of college, a theater major. I was living with my parents because I just graduated and I was saving money to move out into Minneapolis. And, she treated like she was so professional and made me feel like I felt like an actor. You know what I mean? Like I felt like an actor. And that was just I remember that feeling of, I don't know, she just treated us like peers and was so generous as an actor, because it's our coverage, her coverage. Even when it was our coverage, she was just such a generous actress and wanted us to shine. And she was really wonderful. I remember that. I remember not being intimidated and just feeling like we're three actors together doing a scene instead of this amazing actress and and a little girl from Burnsville, Minnesota, who's pretending to be an actor, And then we did that scene, and Steve Buscemi had been on the set watching, and I remember he came up to me and said that you were really funny to me. He said that to me, and I still didn't even know who I was like, thanks, buddy. And then I walk away and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Mr. Pink from like Unusual. Yeah. Like, oh my God, yeah. Because they didn't really share the whole script with us either. I think they were pretty secretive about it. And so even after we wrapped, there was a bowling party and I was sitting next to William H. Macy and I asked him who he played in the movie because I didn't know. I had my scenes and I knew the script a little bit, but we could read it, but we couldn't keep it. So I had the sides and then I knew the script, but I didn't, you know what I mean? It was, anyway, but it was a wonderful experience. And I remember that Joel that Ethan was mostly the one who communicated with the actors. Joel was usually over there. And then Ethan would come over and sort of say like, Joel wants you to do this. And like, because that's how they worked. You could tell that they had been working together so long so that they had their own little system. And then, you do the movie and it takes a year for that movie to come out. So I'm back waiting tables at TGI Fridays and I'm auditioning for theater in Minneapolis. And I think I just maybe started doing Tony and Tina's Wedding and still waiting tables. And I remember I was working at TGI Fridays and across from it was the movie theater and Pulp Fiction was out, but the trailer for Fargo was being shown before Pulp Fiction. And I made the trailer, our scene, the hooker scene. Oh yeah, you betcha. Yeah, it was in the trailer. So people would come to TGI Fridays after seeing Pulp Fiction, like, aren't you in a movie that's out in like a few months? And I'm like, yeah, do you guys want to get breadsticks? Or I mean,
right.
But yeah, so that was my first job right out of college. That was a long story.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's exactly what I wanted. I am swept away by those kind of experiences. We've all done it as actors. You gotta put food on the table, as it were, and you gotta make rent. I've done all of the things.
I've done all of them. I still got
all of the things.
TGI Fridays, my striped shirt, I still got it. I've worked. You just have to be ready to do lots of jobs.
Always. At one point, I was a professional confetti blower.
Wow. Yeah. Did you go? Where did you study? Was it the East Coast
Confetti College?
Okay.
I worked a bunch of pop-ups all throughout LA when they're still quasi-popular, but there was like a whole year where they, like 2017 into 2019, they were just all over the place, popping up. That's as they do. So the first one that I worked at was called Candytopia, which is exactly what it sounds like.
I know exactly what pop-up you're talking about.
Yeah?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it started at the Santa Monica Mall, which is the one I was at. Everything candy themed, art and structures and all the things. And so there was this one room that was the pig room. It had flying pigs that would poop bags of candy. And we had leaf blowers that we would blow
And
confetti
blow
on
the
people as they were
confetti.
coming through the door. Yeah. Did you go?
I went to was there another location that wasn't
Yeah.
Santa Monica? Because
After the popularity of Santa Monica, they went all over the place. So it's been
I
all
think
three
I did do it.
times.
I think it was one of those things like, what can I find something to do with like my son and friends? And I think I know I went. I know I did because I remember buying tickets for it. But and I like candy. I thought there would be more candy,
Yeah.
but it was really fun.
Yeah, I think as the location spread out, they gave out less candy so they could put more
Probably.
money into the actual,
It was very cool.
layout. Yeah.
I remember that.
Um,
So professional confetti blower. And what else?
oh, Melissa, I mean, if I went down the list of weird jobs that I've had,
Isn't it funny?
I was posting sports cards on Mercari as a job at one point. I I mean, I've done some very weird stuff.
My favorite things are just like the juxtaposition of like your life sometimes. Like I remember when I first would move out here, I think I'd been invited to oh my gosh, it was like maybe it was a comedy. I don't think it was a Comedy Central thing, but it was like Gary Marshall was there. Like these, like,
Oh,
comedy legends were there. And my manager was bringing me, and I just gotten here and I was auditioning, like sleeping on an air mattress, but I'm meeting like, Gary Marshall and Carl Reiner. And then the next day I'm catering. I'm like helping my friend I'm making money catering a job and, you know, bringing up, pull out chairs and dragging them up a hill to set up a picnic table. Like, it's like that's the beauty of like sort of the life of this, which is like one day you're like, maybe you're auditioning somewhere and you're meeting these people. And the next day you're like, oh, I'm spraying out garbage cans and I'm going to put punch in it for some weird party that I'm working at. It was just like that sort of life. Or driving,
absolutely.
4 hours for a 2-minute audition and
Oof.
just all of those things.
Yeah, I'm from
This is
Southern
why you
Illinois.
have to love it.
You have to love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, I'm from Southern Illinois, and I used to drive up to Chicago, for whatever work I could pick up, including a lot of background stuff, which definitely didn't pay me for the trip at all. But I wanted to be on set so badly, I kept doing it. And my parents were very upset with me for doing it so many times. But I worked on like Little Fockers. I worked on The Dark Knight, which was also very, very cool. I was right by Heath Ledger while he was, you know, being brilliant.
My
When
gosh.
when he comes in looking for Harvey Dent and throws Maggie Gyllenhaal out the window, I'm in that scene. So yeah, that's
That's
any
pretty
chance
awesome.
any chance to be on set, I will take it, baby.
And that's what I feel like. That's when people always ask me, like, and if I had any advice, which I don't know if I ever do, because it's so much of it is just persistence. But what that would be my advice is just say yes to a lot of those things and be on a set because you might meet somebody, you never know what seed you're going to plant that day. That's like, oh, remember that guy whose background and he's so energetic and he like always was, he listened and he did this. Let's call him in for this. Like you just never know. And those, a lot of times, that's how you continue to work and to get work is just is saying yes. If someone wants you, and sometimes it's saying yes to stuff that is like a lot of time and a lot of energy and it's not worth the money but it's worth that experience or meeting that person or just you'll learn something, meet somebody that day. I don't know.
Faux Real is brought to you in partnership with BetterHelp. Do you ever find yourself severely overwhelmed? Like the universe has put everything in your path to halt you from having a good day? I have a lot of those times. I've dealt with depression and anxiety most of my life. And as a neurodivergent, I often have to build a lot of extra safeguards in my brain for those intrusive thoughts that so often plague me from propelling myself forward and getting things done. That's why, for the last few years, I've been speaking with a licensed therapist at BetterHelp, who has helped me calm those thoughts and build a more productive and calm mind, which in turn has helped build a better me. Everyone is going through something some of the time, and we all need a little help to get through. So if therapy is something you may have been wanting to try, but you're not quite sure how to get started, BetterHelp is really easy to use. They are customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and live chat, so you never have to worry about going to a stuffy office and can set a schedule that fits your own. In fact, BetterHelp is much more affordable than typical in-person therapy, and once you set up your profile, you'll be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. If you wish to change your therapist, you can do so at any time without a fee or penalty. Over 2 million people have used BetterHelp, including yours truly. So, listeners of Faux Real with Devlin Wilder get 10% off their first month. Just go to betterhelp.com/faux. That's betterhelp.com/FAUX. Get your mental breath back with BetterHelp.
Yeah, it's always cool, the experiences that we get to have, doing this wild, weird job.
It is wild and weird.
Watching you post person place a thing, or anytime you appear on a game show, is the most fun I have watching game shows. And as mentioned earlier, you've done so many of them, including you recently were on the panel for I Can See Your Voice. How was that?
That show is nerve-wracking. I was sweating. And the one I just did, that contestant Linda, who was such a dear.
Linda,
I mean,
I was crying.
I cried. This is the I'll tell you the honest truth about shooting that show. Like, it was in Atlanta, and I think I had to I had a job the following Monday. So it was one of those things where I was going to be in a plane for like 10 of the 20 hours I was going to be there. You know what I mean? And I was sort of a little like, a little stressed about it, but got there. Crew so welcoming. Ken, Cheryl, everybody's so wonderful. And then Linda happened, and my heart was so full, and I cried. I met her granddaughter. I met her. As I was getting on the plane again, rushing to get on the plane, I thought, you know what? This was so much fun. It was worth all of it because I got to meet Linda and I got to be there. So that was my little backstory of, like, it was a little like, oh my gosh. And then that's why I was here. I was supposed to get to meet this amazing woman who's up here talking about her husband and winning for him. Anyway, so that was part of it, was just, I wanted her. She was so lovely. Follow her on Instagram if you're not following. Yeah, she's fabulous. But that's a hard game. And, I think that because I think because I've watched a lot of concerts, or I love music or singers, that you kind of like, you learn little like tips of like, does it sound like that could be their voice? And I will tell you this, what's so hard is that you want to risk it all for them because you want to be able to get them that big payday. But at the same time, I just couldn't, because part of me wanted to, but with Linda, I don't know. I loved it. I would do it every time. I'm obsessed with the show because it is one of those shows that every episode to be the judge or to be a guest panelist would be completely different. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't think there's a ton of, you can have some strategy as far as like, this is what their voice should look like. It felt like they were taking a breath here, but really, I don't think there's a strategy.
You got to eagle eye
it
every moment.
Yeah.
And like, I have perfect pitch, which doesn't help me on this show.
You have perfect pitch?
Mm-hmm.
Let me hear. A little C. Because my joke is I have perfect pitch.
La, 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 la.
You do have perfect pitch.
Yeah. I went. I did all the things. In choir all 4 years of high school. I was one of those nerds.
But do you think when you watch it, do you think you could, because you have experience as a singer, would be better at it?
That superpower doesn't help me, of course, because you don't know until they actually do sing. And I really need to upgrade my lip reading skills. My mom, not to go into a whole different thing here, but my mom is a 2-time cancer survivor. She had her vocal cords removed. And so, she speaks with a modulator, but she hates using it. So right. I've really been trying to attune myself to be able to, understand her when she's talking to me and we talk. Mostly we chat through Messenger. But whenever we video chat, I really gotta, yeah, I got to upgrade my lip reading skills. But I love that show so much, and And I loved taking your journey on that show because I could really tell your heart was going out to Linda. My heart was going out to Linda. Like she was fighting for her life. And the that show is so much fun because they have such wild characters that they come up with. The singing zombie was awesome.
And then the sports one wasn't that one just last night? I just think it's such a
Just the
good
other night.
show. Their whole team, they have a great team too. Speaking of like that, everyone was so on welcoming and on their game. And Ken makes it so fun, and
I love
I
Ken.
love the show. I hope they ask me back because
Me too.
I had a blast. I'll tell you the one show I did that I was not good at,
Oh,
which
please,
I thought I
yes.
would be great at.
Gossip.
It was Name That Tune with Jane Kurkowski. Were you going to bring that one up? Oh,
I have so many notes,
okay.
Melissa. I just have a whole page. We can go wherever you want.
First of all, I love her. I mean, since 30 Rock,
Yes.
since before that, I'm just the biggest fan. And Randy, I was a fan. But because I'm not a singer, I'm so in awe of people who can. I love music. I collect vinyl. I have a Prince tattoo. I listen to music all the time. I love it. I feel like I know lots of genres. And I was playing and this show is so amazing because you can win so much money for a charity. Like I think up to like, what was it? Is it 100,000? I mean, it's a lot of money that you can win
What their
for your
payout
charity.
is.
All I know is and I was
Significant
playing, it's a significant amount. And I was playing for, it's a charity I set up in honor of my friend who I've lost in 2017, and she was a nurse. And I set it up at her alma mater, and it's a nursing scholarship that we give to a nursing student every year. And I was, I'm playing for her, and I'm like, I'm talking to her, I'm like, Diana, I'm going to win your scholarship. We're going to get it. And even in the pre-round, I was sort of killing it. And here's what I realized. I got so in my head about knowing the exact title, because it's not about knowing this. It's not the song you might know, the artist you might know, but it's the name of the song. And sometimes the name of the song, which we know, we could sing the whole song, but the name is different. And so I panicked a couple times and completely tanked it. And then also part of it is like the luck of the draw. If you get the one you think you know, and my advice to anybody playing, if you don't know the song from the clue, like if the clue doesn't get you like it's got to be this, then it doesn't matter how many notes you have. Really, I think anyway. I was so bad, and I remember. But to be fair, you still win. They still give they still gave I think $10,000 to the scholarship, which is lovely.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But I was so devastated with myself because I wanted to win the money for my friends for the scholarship, but also I pride myself on my music knowledge, but it's not really about music knowledge. It's about a lot of other things. But it was such a good, again, I've told them that if they ever have what is it? You get a second chance to like come back. I want to do it again because it was so much fun. And I remember I ran into Randy Jackson at the hotel after, and who's such a nice man. And he said, Melissa, he's like, you were so great on the episode. And I go, Randy, was I? Was I great? And he goes, well, you were fun. And so you know what, Randy, that's probably more accurate. I was fun, but it's such a fun show.
I want to be a contestant on that show. I want to be a contestant on I Can See Your Voice as some crazy character. I think
you should.
I would love to do it. I would do it in a heartbeat if they would bring me on.
You got to find out who cast that because you would be great.
Oh,
you could be the Amish. Oh my gosh, you have to be an Amish person.
I would so do that as Jebediah. I've got the outfit. It's in my closet.
My
you
gosh.
Want to make a call?
And yes, I'm going to make a call. And
great.
You started your journey like 4 days ago in your buggy to get there.
Exactly.
Oh my, and even though all of your family can't watch you on TV, they're still rooting for you.
Exactly.
Oh my God, this is going to happen. I'm going to find out who is the casting people from there.
Okay,
and
awesome.
I think you would be so great at that. And I don't know, and I don't know if you like you have perfect pitch, but I don't know that. I won't be the panelist, so it doesn't matter. So, oh my gosh,
Melissa. What
I'm putting it
I
in.
thank you. I
I
appreciate
have no
that.
power, but I'm putting it in.
Listen, I'll take any help you can throw my way. Because I truly do love them so much. Would you ever do, have you done Celebrity Jeopardy? Would you ever do Celebrity Jeopardy?
I would. And I talk about it with one of my good friends who works over there, and I watch it every night. I think if I ever had the chance to meet Alec Trebek, I think I would have truly been not able to speak. I just love him. And it's on every night at our house. I would love to do it. I think, and I'm sorry for the vision. I think I would have diarrhea for a month leading up to it. I think
Sure.
I would have to wear some sort of astronaut diaper during the show, because I would be such a nervous wreck, but I would love to try it. I really would. And I would have to accept that I would fail miserably if but I would really love to give it a go. I really would. But I
I,
think it would be I mean, my favorite sketch, one of my favorite SNL sketches is the Celebrity Jeopardy SNL
of
sketch,
course.
Carol, which is so genius. And I can go down a rabbit hole of that. Just the what happened with Sean Connery and him, why it's so much hate. I love that.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
I would be okay looking dumb just to get a chance to play that show, because I think it is one of the best game shows ever. And Alec, he was awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. And I watch it, and again, it's one of those games, like all game shows. We all think when we're on our couch at home,
Yeah.
we're all geniuses, we're all brilliant, but the minute you're there, it's a whole different ball game. And I would think, and I know people would study for it. I'd probably hire a tutor, because my weakness, as you probably know from even just playing person, geography, not my bag.
Oof. Me
Um,
too.
Even though I can try to study maps every night and like the look at just to try to like get it in my head a little bit, it just isn't my wheelhouse. But with Jeopardy, like history, like I think some of those things would be really difficult for me. But I would love to give it a go, because at home I'm really great.
You would absolutely nail it. I would love to see you on that show. Um,
Oh,
every time you're on a game show, I make sure to watch because I know it's going to be delight because you're so much fun. Um, there again, I have so many notes here. You also did. I want to talk about this crazy show called Nochos con Platanito. You're a guest on this show.
yes.
Before I want to hear all about your experience. I got to tell you about my experience. I was technically on the show, an episode that I don't believe either didn't air or they cut my segment. I was cast as a I was cast through a marketing company for
Okay.
what I was told was going to be, a promotional event. I've done
Okay.
100 million of them. I've done a lot of costume character work. So they hired me to be Leonardo from the latest iteration of the Teenage Mutant
Ninja
Ninja Turtles.
Turtle. Okay.
So there were all four turtles, and we were going to be doing this marketing thing for some kids event, as I understood
Okay.
it. When we actually got there, it was the studio for Nochos con Platanito.
Just in Burbank, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, wait a minute. We're going to be on camera. That's an acting gig. I need to be hired as an actor.
Right, right, right. Okay.
And it was like a whole back and forth with the promotional company. They were like, oh, we don't know. I was like, sure.
Okay.
Because we were in this whole segment for some game that they were playing on the show with all four turtles, and we were like, it was some comedy sketch that they were putting into the show. Never saw it. Never came out as far as I don't know. But I watched random bits of of those episodes, and that looks like totally nutballs.
It was, and it was, I think wasn't it, I don't know if it's still on or not.
Mm-mm.
It was it wasn't the highest rated show. Like, I mean, it's like the
In the
Spanish.
Latino
Mhm.
community or something, yeah.
And I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was during baby daddy years when I was doing the sitcom, and it was myself and Derek Thieler who played my son. I think we were on it together. Were we? Oh my gosh. And we had to play a game of again, so it's just think of like, so you the host is dressed as a clown,
Yep.
and it's all in Spanish. So we have an interpreter. So we have an interpreter in our ear that so he asks the questions, and then we get it interpret they'll tell us what it is, and then we would answer, and then they tell him. I remember just going with it. It was truly very fun. It felt like one of those game shows where like, I don't know, next thing I have no idea. Maybe they're going to strap me to a giant wheel and spin me, and I don't know what's happening, but it's seemingly everyone's having a great time. So, I mean, I had a great time. I don't know exactly what I said or did, but it was enjoyable. And yeah, it was one of those where you're like, I have to say yes because it's an experience. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, why wouldn't I? So yeah, I just remember it was really fast and really funny. And I couldn't tell if because again it's all going, we're both speaking different languages, and I know a little bit I can speak a little bit, I can understand it a lot more than I can speak it, so I could tell what was going on a little bit, and the crowd was rowdy and fun, and it was a blast. So that was my experience, and I think I had to play a game where I had to put on a giant pair of pants, or I don't know. I don't
Amazing.
know.
I gotta find it and watch it.
Find it and remind me what I did. I can't really
Okay, I
remember.
will.
And it was one of those moments too where I'm like, this is in Burbank. This happens in Burbank every night. And you feel like you're in a completely different universe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a wild set. It wasn't weird. It was in not any kind of a bad way, but it was a very
It's just a lot going on. It because
high vibration.
but yes, it was like and they had a big studio audience, if I remember,
Mhm.
which even but pre-COVID, studio audience were never that big. So that's what I mean, being by wild, like so many people, there was a lot of different rooms and things happening, and it moved fast. And lots of big set pieces and games going on. Like at any point, I thought maybe I would be a human bowling ball pin, and I mean, who knows? It was
Yeah.
just really fun and out there. But then the minute you get out of here, like, oh my gosh, I'm in Burbank, right by IKEA or somewhere. Not even whatever, not by. It was over further
Yeah.
north. Just going like, huh? This is going on every night. They are having a giant party over here in Burbank every night. Someone's putting on giant pants, and I'm just over here at at the Sizzler. Who knew this was happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I did. I was not brought over there under the guise of a marketing turtle, so I
Oh,
had to.
that's good. That's good. Yeah.
That's all I can say about
You
that
knew
one.
what you were getting into.
Yes,
Mostly.
mostly I did.
Good.
Yeah, I've gotten to play a lot of very fun games. I love playing, but I get so competitive that I have to lie down when I get home because
Oh yeah.
just I want them to win.
And you've done several episodes of Pictionary with Jerry O'Connell.
Right? I
I
love
just went to a taping of After Midnight, the new iteration of At Midnight.
he
Taylor
was
Tomlinson.
there.
It was wild. Have you seen this? Have you seen the show yet?
I've seen the show. I love her. I think she's fantastic, and I think she's such a great choice. And I love that there is a woman in another woman in late night. I love it. And I saw the clip of Jerry dancing, which was did his shirt come off?
Several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just went for it. Yeah, and Taylor lost it. Everybody lost it. It was a grand time. Yeah.
He's like my brother. Like we've done press together for Pictionary and for Person Place for Thing, and he makes me laugh. We went to the Minnesota State Fair together to do press. We've been to we did a little we did Philly, DC, and New York together, and he's like my game show big brother or little brother, big brother, little brother. And he just makes me laugh. He's really, and I will say this about Jerry, and I've said it. He's one of those people that when he says yes the whole time. Like
Mhm.
he's there. He's energy, fun. He knows. He makes sure he talks to everybody. I just think he's a really he's a good one. He's a really good person, and he works really hard, and we have a good time together. I'm glad that it's like him and Meredith, like that we're like that game show team. Like we all genuinely like each other very much. He makes me, and then I have moments where I look at him and I'm going, "Oh my gosh, you're you're Vern from Stand By Me," you know,
Yeah.
and one of the best movies ever made. And
That was his intro line when they do the pan and they all give their little sound bit.
yeah,
He was like, "I'm the fat kid from Stand By Me."
it was Vern. Vern was his
Just
name, right?
deadpan, and it was so funny.
Yeah, and he was so good in that movie. And he's a good. I don't know. He makes me laugh a lot.
I can tell he seems like a real happy guy.
He is. He is. And he has so much energy. Like we talk about it. Like I remember I've talked to Meredith about, when we're shooting these shows, which it's like you do 6 a day, and
Mhm.
we do them all in like a 5 week or 6 week period. You get all your shows done. So, Meredith and I talked about, she's like, Melissa, just that's what just make sure, don't make other plans really. You know what I mean? Where my job is to get sleep, maybe work out, eat right, just take care of yourself and be ready to do the show and sort of shut it down. Like even on weekends, it's like, I'm not going out. I'm going to just shut it down a little bit. And, or even after shooting all day, I'm like, I don't want to talk. I want to go lie down. Jerry's the one who's like, I worked out before, did 6 episodes. I'm probably going to go out to eat. Like his
Yeah,
energy is just crazy, where I'm like, I gotta lie down. Like, how do you do it? But
yeah,
that's his makeup. He's got the energy.
that's so awesome. Wow. You've also done some voiceover work. You're a character on Johnny Bravo and American Dad. Um,
You're digging. These are the B-sides. These are the deep cuts.
this is the job. Listen, I got to do my research. Um, how much fun is voiceover work?
Well, it's the best because you don't have to brush your teeth if you didn't want to. You can just sort of show up there. I will say it's just, I wish I was doing more. But I don't know. There's people and you probably know them. These people that walk in and they are so good at it, and it's a skill. And there's a reason why there's like, I feel like 20 people that do all of it because they're just so good at it, and they're good at delivering like every take. And but yeah, I'd love to do more. I mean, that would be the dream, right? To be in an animated movie and to be a
Heck
voice.
yeah.
All right, I'll manifest it.
The Simpsons is the top, right?
I mean, Dan Castellaneta and like Hank Azaria, and watching them, I did do a pilot with Mike Scully before. It was like a sort of a live action, and where am I going with this? Just that. Well, now I'm trying to remember if it was that's where I met Dan. No, I met Dan. Dan did an episode of Baby Daddy, Homer's voice, the guy that plays Homer's voice.
Right. Hmm.
One of the nicest people ever. And and in real life, that's not his voice at all. Like, and he's, and watching him go into Homer. And when I worked at Fox, I got to go to a table read of a Simpsons thing and watching it. But it's an incredible skill, and they are so very good at it. I don't think now, how many years ago was that? But now I think they probably all have studios at their homes, right? I don't even know, do they do it together or not? But
I don't
Bob's
know.
Burgers, my dream. Oh my gosh, excuse me, as my voice, I'm talking about wanting to do voiceover as I get a bubble in my throat, like I just would love to do Bob's Burgers. I would, if I could even say one sentence on that show, I
Right.
would. It's such a good show. All right. I mean, Linda. All right. I love John. I love
Yes.
everybody. Anytime I would do anything on that show because I think it's genius.
It really is. That's an awesome show. Kristen Shaw is
Genius.
just incredible, and I love her on What We Do in the
What we do in the
Shadows
shadows.
too. Holy crap!
Again, I would give
Yes,
anything to be I'd love to do background on that show. Give me a 6 foot tall vampire or a werewolf.
dude. Yes,
I would love it. Those are two of my favorite shows.
all day long. Yeah, yeah. Ah, I I mean, there's another 3 hours of things that I want to talk to you about. It's, especially, all your time on Reba and Baby Daddy, which, uh, probably a lot of people know you about. Um,
Yeah. It's fun because I try to like in my head when I see somebody that maybe kind of goes, do I know her? I try to guess if they were a Barbara Jean fan from Reba, a Bonnie Wheeler fan from Baby Daddy, or maybe Brenda Sparks from like Young Sheldon. So it's like I tried in my head to go, I bet, and then they'll come up and it'll be somebody who is a Sheldon fan, and I go, I thought it was going to be Reba. Like, in my head, I think just from like maybe I try to like go, how do they know me? But because that Reba still airs somewhere, every day, that I get young fans and old fans, and now that Young Sheldon's on Netflix, and even though Brenda's not, I do a few episodes every season, or I forget what season I came in, but the amount of like Brenda love that's coming because of Netflix, and then Baby Daddy when it will re-air, and I think it was on Hulu over COVID. But yeah, I've been very lucky that I've gotten to be on a three long running, really fun, funny, good shows. And I'm still tight with my Reba fam and my Baby Daddy fam. So and Young Sheldon is just one of those shows that is just written so beautifully and funny and heartfelt. And yeah, I've been very, very lucky. And I think I would joke that, you know, getting, whether it's acting or hosting or doing stand up or improv, all of those, I think they're all different skills and different mediums, but they all make you a little bit better at the other one. You know what I mean? Like I feel like after even just doing the run of person, place, or thing, I felt sharper, and like I'm like, I'm ready to audition. My brain's on. I'm ready to go. My improv is like, because I have to be listening and ready to go. And so I think that skill, that makes me feel stronger to go do something else. And then after working on a scripted show, it makes you feel like you're ready to do other things. Like I think they all sort of have different muscles, but they make you a little bit stronger in every little medium. So, and the great thing about hosting is I do it all in 6 weeks. We do all those episodes, and then I have a whole lot of time left in my year to pursue lots of other things, or not, or not, or just
or just
not
chill on
work
the couch.
because nobody's calling. So, whatever. But I like that feeling. Like it's a nice little it's another skill that I'm glad that I get to do, or another thing I feel very lucky to get to do. But yeah, Barbara Jean started it all.
It's such a cool character, and so much fun. And um, all of the wonderful friends and friendships that you've made all along the way are so cool. I also had Danielle Pinnock, who plays Miss Ingram on Young
Yeah,
Sheldon. She was on the show several years ago before she absolutely exploded into the
right.
stratosphere. And now she's on Ghosts and Candy Cane Lane and doing all of the things. Um,
I love
and
Ghosts too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool
I
show.
mean, it's a great show. And it's like one of those shows where they can, because it's everyone wants to do it. They have these people that come in and out. They've got, Ed Begley Jr. with Jason Alexander, Wendy
Mhm.
Malick, people that just want to come do it because it's fun to do and it's great. So it's great. I'm sad it's the last season, but I'm excited that I will be dropping by, I hope. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah. I gotta know about Annie Potts. I want to talk about Annie Potts
Okay, feel free.
because I am a lifelong Ghostbusters fan, and I don't know if you've seen the trailer for the
I've seen the
upcoming.
trailer.
Dude, seeing her in uniform, I
Everything.
mean, I am so excited. I am
I'm
so
very
excited.
excited. She is spectacular, and she's one person. The first day, I think my first day on Sheldon, how many years ago, was seen with Zoe and her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't breathe. And they were both so great. And Annie was so wonderful that I think she said something like, do you want to rehearse? I love to be prepared. I'm like, yes. And but I just kept looking at him like designing women, Pretty in Pink, Ghostbusters, just so good and funny and sharp. And then I've been lucky enough to get to hang out with her outside of the show, and she is all of those things. She is wickedly funny, dry, smart, hilarious, kind, just really great. I mean, I was really nervous. It was nerve-wracking to sort of, because I just love her and she makes it look easy. Like she's one of those, you know, I say that about Wendy Malick too, like that those women that just every time they deliver and it looks effortless, but it wasn't. They did put a lot of work into it and then it just is just fantastic. So, and Mima, I mean, another iconic character for us, but I cannot wait for Ghostbusters. And I think I can say this. I think I'm going to see Annie this weekend. So I don't know if I'll get any Ghostbusters dirt, but I can't wait. And I just seen her in that uniform and that they're using I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I will say this because you know that I like my crafting. So Annie had she has, I think she has, how many grandkids now, but one of the grandsons was born. Anyway, I made her a onesie and I took like the Ghostbusters logo and it said, who are you going to call? And I said, Grandma. And I made her a little onesie.
Oh, that's so cool. That is so sweet. Wow. Oh, yeah.
Whatever you think about her, you're right. She's fabulous.
Oh my God. I am so delighted to hear that. She I would love to work with her. It's just yeah, and I will be there opening night for Ghostbusters, and I'll probably see it 3 or 4 times in the theater.
I love that. Do you have a Ghostbusters uniform too, like hanging next
Melissa,
to
this is a lifelong dream of mine to have the full suit. I'm such a nerd about it. Like, if I'm going to do it, I gotta get the very detailed, very specific.
You want no schlocky cardboard,
cinema quality proton pack and the flight suit and all of the things. And it's probably going to cost me about $2,000 to get that all together. I've never been able to pull it off. That is every Halloween. I'm like, yeah. But yeah.
We're going to have to figure out how to get one.
It's
maybe if you do that costume for I Can See Your Voice, you just accidentally walk out with it. You get the production to get it for you.
Well, I mean, I would do it in a heartbeat. That would be quite a thrill.
Oh my gosh, I just got a text from Manny. So just speaking of Manny, our sweet Manny who works on the show. So I know what.
Yeah. Hi, Manny.
Hi, Manny. But I will say this about everyone at Young Sheldon, the adults. Like I love all the kids, like Reagan and Ian and Montana, who's not a kid anymore; he's a grown up. But I think about because I've been on sitcoms and I've been on sitcoms with kids, and I think what's so fantastic about, because it's sad, it's always when things end, it feels sad because that is your family. And they were babies when they started, like at least Ray and Ian were. They were, I think, 8 or 9, maybe younger, 8. But what was so fantastic is I look at Annie and Lance and like Zoe and all of the adult actors that are on the show is like, what a gift that not only did these kids get to watch these amazing adult actors and how they work. They were great actors to watch, but they were all really just great humans that looked out for them. And I would say that about the crew too. They made sure that set was a great place for kids. They were very aware of that, and they all loved them. The boom operators, the camera guys, everybody just made sure that they were kids. These are kids on the set. Let's make this a great place for them. And so they were very lucky in that way. I told that to Ray. I said that's such a, as even just someone I guess that gets to walk in and watch it, they were very lucky to be, that's where they grew up if they were on a set. And so, yeah, they'll walk out of there with a lot of great, they were loved and treasured, and they'll walk out with a lot of great skills too. So that's good.
That's incredible. I'm so glad to hear that. Melissa, you are such a joy. Thank
You
you
are
so
too.
much for thank you. Thank you for joining me here today. I am delighted every time I see you on screen. For all of the future game shows and other shows that you appear on, I'll be watching. I so hope to work with you in an acting capacity
Me
in
too.
the very near future. I know it would be such a joy, and
Well, you
I
have my email. You have all my info, and
yes,
I'm gonna find out about I Can See Your Voice, and we got to
oh
go
my
see
God,
Pete's show.
thank
So
you,
you're stuck with me.
awesome, awesome, thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you.
enjoy the rest of your day and your
Go get that
weekend.
nap on.
I'm gonna do it.
Your nap on.
Right around 3 o'clock, I think is
Perfect.
going to be nap time. Yeah,
All right. Well, tell me when you're doing Pete. When you're doing Pete soon. Maybe I'll.
I will send you the episode link as soon as it posts.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Have a good one.
You too. See you later.
Okay. Bye.
Faux Real is hosted and produced by me, Devlin Wilder. I also coordinate talent booking. Logo design is by Chris Michaud. Social media is done by Oprah Labs. You can follow the show across social media at Faux Real Pod. That's FAUX. The outro music you are hearing now is Dynamo Rainbow by Christian Leo. Faux Real is a production of Wilder Entertainment.